Good morning! Hello, hello, hello. Today is the last day of our slow cooker cook-along. So howdy, well done! You're here and I'm going to show you how to probably make, there's a few that are like absolute favourites of mine in the slow cooker, but I feel like, you know, sticky chicken was probably one of the very first recipes I ever shared. It's about 6 years old. There's lots of bloggers that have gone on to recreate it in different ways, and rightly so, because it's so good. I absolutely love this one, and I feel like here's a good way of seeing is the recipe good. Well, I've heard my sweet husband when he's spoken about slow cooker recipes before, like, you know, just, I don't know, however it's come up, like, I'm talking once or twice, and they're like, oh, they don't need anything, whatever, and he's always just like, my wife makes this sticky chicken that goes sticky in the slow cooker, just make that, and see how you go after that. So I feel like the fact that he sells it like this, and he's not a foodie like at all. That's your case in point that this one's good, right? Tell me if you like that idea. All right, we're gonna get going on the first thing. You can see that I am doing that. And yeah, actually, let me just move this slightly over. I've got everything on the bench ready to go. Can you see me okay? Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can see me okay. What I'm doing now is I've just peeled my onion and I'm going to give it a quick chop. Now, you can absolutely do the chicken first, but I just think I've turned on my fry pan, and you might want to do the same. I'm just going to get going on this one first. So I'm going to chop my onion. I've got one big one here, nice and thin, and you want to always be thinking about that with your slow cooker, because if you're not going to pulverize this, which I hope you don't, this one I want to bring back thoughts of like 80s eating at a Chinese restaurant. That's what I love with this one. Is that you want to make sure that they're going to fit on a spoon. I have quite possibly the worst knives where we are at the moment. Oh my god, they're all so blunt, so I'm so sorry. I should have brought my knife with me from home. But this is looking rather awkward and tricky. Okay. But here, yeah, I'm just going to chop them up. I want to get those going in my pan. This is such a winning recipe too, and something that you're going to love about my recipes in the 4-week course. So that's what I would love you guys to go and do now, is be like, you know what, I've had some absolute winners there in my slow cooker. There's so much more I want to learn about it. Come and do the 4 weeks with me. And you'll love that there's recipes like this one. This cooks quicker, right? Think back to Monday. I'm just going to increase the heat just a touch and get that onion in. That wasn't peel on the side too. If any of you are looking at the United States, you've left some peel. It's just the colouring of the onion. There isn't any of that peel on that little side, so that's why I want to use it. And 4 garlic. Is it 4? Yes. Phew! I've only cooked this 800 times. Is that this one you can put on in, oh, that's not a good one. That this one you can put on during the day, because I want to always have different options, and this is what I'll give you every single week in the plan, is that there will be some recipes that take 8 hours to cook. That's great. And for me during the week, that sometimes works. But there is also days, and give me some thumbs up if you're with me on this, where that doesn't work. And I have stuff on, and I may not even be home until sort of later on in the day. And then I've got the pressure cooker option, because I can use that on each of my recipes. Or you also have the high option, which is just 2 hours. So this could be something that, say you're out until school pickup time or something like that. You can pick them up and put it on, and it's, you know, it's still ready for 5. Or you can cook it on low. So low is still sort of 4 to 5 hours. But I really wanted to make sure that with this course is that not everything takes 10 hours, because I don't want you ever to feel defeated with that. Now, if you like and you love this one but you want it to cook longer, I'll give you some ideas. And feel free, guys, to pop any questions as I'm going in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Okay, I'm just going to grab a little spatula will do. Make sure. I don't have gas. I'm not very good at gas. Have you guys got gas or induction? Let me know. I feel like I'm just already burning it. Okay, I'm going to grab one of these guys and get going on the chicken. So I use chicken breast. You can use thighs. It calls for either of those in the recipe. But we were just chatting a second ago saying, well, what happens if you want this to stay on longer? If you want this to stay on longer, whack them in like this, because you've got a bigger surface area there, right, of your chook, so it's going to take longer to cook. Whereas when you start cutting it down and you remove your bones, all those things, it's going to cook a lot quicker. So use that as a bit of, you know, knowledge there of tweaking even some of your own family favourite recipes. You may want to go ahead too, and if you do have time in the morning or whatever, or the day before, but you don't want to put the cooker on until later because maybe you don't have a keep warm function on the cooker, which is always my secret weapon for having things cooked quicker, is that maybe you would like to make this up and leave it in you could put it even into here and then leave it in the fridge. The thing though I find is I probably wouldn't put it in there is that I don't tend to, personally, and everyone's different, I don't tend to brown off my meat halfway and then leave it. Like especially chicken, it just kind of worries me with the salmonella, but I could be way off. So let me know in the comments if I'm absolutely crazy. Could I use drumsticks? Absolutely. I'm going to show you this really cool hack in a sec of how you can use with any of your meats there to get them sticky and to keep them that way. Okay, so I'm chopping this up. I've got my chicken in there. I'll show you what to do next. Just getting any of the gross bits off. Okay, let's just check on your garlic and your onion. You're trying to get some colour on there because any time you get colour and you get those little crispy bits, this is the stuff that adds so much, oh that's too bold, that adds so much flavour to your cooker. Alright, so we've got our diced chicken. What we're going to do next is hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper. This is what we're doing to season it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some corn flour or tapioca flour. In all of my recipes, that you'll love this in the 4-week course, I give you gluten-free options. I give you dairy-free, I give you veggie options, I give you FODMAP, I give you low carb. Give me a thumbs up if that sort of works for you, because I realise that in so many families, including mine, there's different intolerances, and I want to always be that spot that you're like, you know what, I can just go to Stacey's recipes and they're just always going to work. So to do this vegetarian is incredible with some tofu. You know what it's also super incredible with, I've done this a few times, is with eggplant. Treat the eggplant literally the same way that I'm doing the chicken. All right, that's ready to go. So I'm going to finish this off. So there I put in some flour. Now I didn't actually have any tapioca, which is a shame, but I'm just going to use plain flour because it stays. It's going to work. Salt and pepper, and then you're tossing it to cover it. The reason that you're tossing it is that this is going to help it lock in the moisture, so it's going to stay really, really great that way. So it's not going to dry out. But what it's going to help you do is get that sticky crumb on there, and think back, and please give me some thumbs up if you did this as well as a kid, but like that Mongolian beef and those little Chinese recipes that had the most beautiful crumb on the outside of the meat, and then the sauce went a bit sticky and gooier. This is how you can do that in your slow cooker. So please don't skip this step. You see there that I'm literally using spelt flour that we used last night in the muesli bar because it's all I had while we were away. Easy. Okay. There we go. Now let's get going on this stuff. I didn't chop up an onion to the cooker. A bit more oil, and don't overcrowd this pan when you're doing the chicken. Why? Because then you'll end up stewing it. You're not trying to cook it through. You're trying to get some gorgeous colour and sear it on the outside of the chicken, right? You don't want any more than that. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm going to leave it back for a sec. We're going to go back our chopping board. And I want to get going on that capsicum. And I think the ginger as well. Because what I can do is break the rules there. I'm going to do it with my knife. Oh, it's in there with the chicken. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay. These things too are the kind of stuff that you can prep the day before, or you could be getting the kids to help with, right? Like I know they're probably, maybe, I don't know, my kids would be a little bit trickier with the onions, but they would be all on board for cutting up this capsicum. That wouldn't worry them at all. So think through that kind of stuff. Like if you know that's coming up for dinner tomorrow night, perfect. This is so good. Gorgeous colour. Oh, yum, little crispy bits. Then have them do that, and then you might be like, I'm never sure what we're going to be eating for dinner. Like I don't even know what we're eating for dinner tonight. I get you. I've been there, but I know that you probably don't love that feeling. Am I right in thinking that? Give me a little thumbs up if, honestly, you know, it's just a mental load that you have to wear that you wish that you didn't have to think about. I know for me, I do. Like it's always a bit tricky to think about what's for dinner, but if I am organised with a meal plan and I've shopped for what we're having, I spend less at the markets, right? I feel like the days just flow easier because we know what's coming up and what's on. And that's exactly what you'll get with my meal plan because I've done it for you, right? So you're not having to think of that. And when you go, okay, yeah, look, actually I could prep this and this the night before while I'm waiting for something, you know, to cook off that's ready for the next day. And it just kind of keeps feeding in and feeding in. Because whenever we look at, I know I do, when there's mums that are just absolutely killing it and I'm like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And always, it's that they're organised. They've got these plans. Okay. I think that's it too, right? So I'm just chopping this capsicum. You could use a green one, absolutely. If capsicum isn't your thing, switch it out with a carrot. I just find that, again, I'm channeling a Chinese sort of flavour here. This is gorgeous veggies that they eat. Alright, that bit of the chicken's done. Go in with another one. I say this will take over, I could have used a bigger pan, but it'll probably take 3 lots, I'd say. And I'm just making sure now, see here how I'm pulling these apart? Because I don't wash my hands, sorry. I don't want any of that like to stick together now. I'm just going to see where my butter is. I much prefer cooking with ghee and with butter. It just adds so much flavour. You've got to make sure that there is a little bit of oil in there. I don't think you go overboard with that, but I want there to be a little bit of oil. Now let me see here. Guys, be sure, stick your chicken on. Ah, awesome. It's, yeah, definitely. Using your multi-cooker, your all-in-one, or any of your slow cookers that have the searing function, this recipe is going to be killer for it. And there's a few others in my slow cooking course too. I know actually this one, and I did write this years ago when I was working with Philips on their all-in-one cooker, is I loved this one and still do in a pressure cooker because it just gets to such a high heat. It's like stir frying it, right? So it gets so crispy. It is so good. Okay, and then our ginger, I'm just going to just pull that up so I can get that prepped as well. Yes, grated. Here it is, here. Don't forget this one and don't substitute it for don't substitute this for the dry variety. Why? Dried ginger is sweet. We use it in cakes. We're not trying to get that kind of thing. Look at this. See how? Can you see that okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can. See how it's got little corners on it? It's not cooked through. You can still see a little bit of heat. It doesn't matter. There you go. Let's get this last bit in. And I'm going to show you too a few little hacks here that I do. Woohoo! See the bottom of my bowl? I've still got a little bit of flour. Because I'm not a wasteful girl. Just work it in. Why am I working that in? Because it will just, again, thicken up the sauce. And that is such a win, right? You want that sauce nice and thick. That last little bit of butter in, and then I'm going to brown this off, and I'm going to grate my ginger. So I might just do that straight here, because I can cook the ginger off at the same time I'm doing the capsicum. In my recipe, before Stacey went rogue, I just said do all the veggies together and start with the chicken. But I didn't have the chicken diced. And I didn't want you to see me wasting time if I hadn't had the chicken diced, right? So it's good to see different ways. And always be conscious of how can I get out of the kitchen quicker. Because that is usually my idea of heaven. I know that might surprise you, but I don't want to be in there for ages. I do it because I love the knock-on effect of eating these real foods. And what they do for my energy, my mental clarity, and what they mostly do for my sweet kids. They're raising them to be healthy. And not have all that reliance on a takeaway. Alright. Let's just check this. I might just turn them over again with my fingers. You can probably do this with tongs. My husband says to me all the time, but you've got chef's hands. I'm like, yeah. Alright. And so this is what the slow cooker is looking like at the moment. Right, we've got our onion, our garlic, our chicken in there. Now, what other cuts of meats could work with this? Let me take you through some of those ideas. Just a bit of butter, and then let's just get in that capsicum and the ginger just to cook down. Now, you don't need to be super precious about cooking the capsicum down by any means, but I'm just going to do it for 30 seconds. I do like it to have a little bit of texture still. What other meats work with this? Well, Stacey's done a few. Pork works really great. Beef. But different cuts of the chicken there as well. So someone said drumsticks. I reckon wings would work amazingly well. That would work so cool. You could definitely do that. What else have I loved in it? Well, I just love it with tofu, to be honest. A really great fermented tempeh as well is really yummy. What I'm doing now, while this is on, is I'm safeguarding against stace at serving time. And what I ask you guys to do, because you will notice, especially in these 4 weeks when we're cooking so much of these slow cooker meals, is that I am all about upping the veggie intake. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting the ends, little green floret bits off the broccoli, because I want to stir that. And give me a thumbs up if you like this idea. I want to stir that. This one's done. In it goes. I want to stir that through my rice that I'm going to serve it with. Now, you might be low carb, keto, paleo, whichever one you identify as. Do this with cauliflower rice. I've done it with that plenty of times. I've done it with broccoli rice. I've even served it just on straight spinach, because I am weird like that. But I love upping something that is a safe food often for kids. Is rice, is just increasing that veggies in there. So what I'm left with though is these bits, and I'm just going to put my noggin on now, because my kids don't mind broccoli, they really love it. Is I'm going to put those ends in. I've got this guy left. I'll leave. Oh wow, actually that one's really tough. So I'll just chop that up just this way and not waste a bit and whack it in. Okay. So for that, I know I'm not cooking rice for another few hours, but I can put the lid on that in the fridge. And again, give me a thumbs up if you're loving this. It's all that future-proofing it. You know, the future Stace is going to be like, oh, I'm so glad you did that. You can stir it through in the last minute of the rice cooking, and it will not be raw, and it will be wonderful. Okay, and it just makes it easier too. Like I know a lot in our house, I'll be asking my husband often to finish off dinner. Those kind of things is just like, babe, all you gotta do is cook the rice and then stir through the greens that I've already put in a container in the fridge. Oh no. This is a new tamari. Oh, my hands are too wet, sorry. I'll do that in a sec. Okay, 3 tablespoons of raw honey. So this just goes straight in, right? I know what a rough tablespoon is. I know how this is meant to look. Okay. Now, oh, my hands are still wet. Oh no. Excuse me just a sec. Joel, quick, can you open this? Can you run? Can you open it? Oh, I got it. Okay, I dried my hand off on a proper towel. That is so funny. It's open now. Okay, so we want 1/4 cup. I'm using tamari. You could use soy sauce. You can also use coconut aminos. So what's the difference? Well, tamari is a wheat sauce. Fermented, wonderful, delicious. I am often gluten-free, so I'm using tamari, which is a wheat-free one. And then coconut aminos is one that all of the gorgeous paleo and keto babes use, which doesn't, what is it there? It doesn't have any, what's in this one? Soy in it. Yes, okay. So this is what we're looking at here. Guys, do pop your questions. I can see there's a few of them coming up. What honey are you using? Always raw. Yes, I know this is going to hit some heat, so not all of the incredible goodness of raw honey is in it. However, it just means it hasn't been heated, you know, before I've even heated it slightly as well. I got this one, I had to do my shopping for this at Woolies. I thought this one looked amazing. It's Nature Nuts, pure organic honey. And I thought this could be quite good actually because I can refill it with the stuff that I buy at the source. Because I tell you, if you want the best honey, oh my goodness, the Source Bulk Foods, they have a deal where they make sure that they go to local beehives, like all of their little shops. So when I bought it on the coast, on the Central Coast, they've been able to get, I bought one of them that they bought it at Matcham, it's amazing, which is like 4 kilometres from the store, but me in the city, we get it from St Ives where they get a beehive from, so it's so incredible. So definitely if you want to be supporting more local on that, the Source Bulk Foods is so cool. Okay, let's give it a stir. Oh my god, it smells good already. Have you made this before? Let me know. Or is this your first time? Or are you like, oh my god, Stace, I totally need to make this. It is the best feeling when you start putting on your slow cooker and you're like, that already looks delicious and that is already smelling incredible. So I'm going to be honest with you gals, I'm actually going to whack it on high. So high, it's done in 2 hours. And why am I doing that? Well, because once the kids are at school, I'm going to eat that for breaking the fast. I think that's going to be absolutely delicious. But you always have those different options with my recipes, is that every single one of them in the course, you've got slow cook on low. So slow cook on low for this is 4 to 5 hours. Slow cook on high is 2 hours-ish. Always, you know, you've got to check your stuff, of course, and then you can pressure cook it for 13 minutes. Oh my gosh! So you're always going to have these ideas, and this is the stuff that makes you feel like you can absolutely do it, because you've got those options and you're not just, you know, tied into that it has to be done this exact way. I love this, all my kids love it too. Yay, delicious. Have you guys made it in your last slow cooker course? Oh, awesome. And you get raw honey and Bundaberg, that's so cool. Yeah, this one is just such a winner. The other veggie that I love eating with this is sugar snap peas. And I'm just going to show you how I prep those. I'm going to put them in here too, because who needs 2 bowls? Oh, I didn't show you what I did there, sorry. Is this. So I just chop it down the middle. I find this there. Does it taste different between slow pressure and cooking? It can, and why it will taste different is that when you're hitting it with a pressure cooker, you're hitting it with such a high amount of heat, so it will crisp up. The longer you're taking for something to cook, the more liquid that you'll be left with. So here's a few things you can do. The first is in the last hour, is you go like this with your slow cooker lid, and it lets some out, but you've still got a top on it, so it's still kind of doing okay. The second is you can move it completely. And it's amazing to see how much that absolutely thickens up, and you will see it thicken a lot because you've got that flour in there, remember? So I've never had to pull it off and do that. We do like a little bit of liquid, and it's interesting. I know some people, when they've made this the first time, they're like, oh, I've got a fair bit of liquid, like, I'm not sure I love that. And then as soon as they give it a stir, they're like, oh, okay. That was weird, which it is. The slow cookers can be weird. It's completely all gobbled up. The other thing that it does too is you can put a little bit of that on your rice, right? These things like that bit of extra liquid could turn into, I know for my kids, they would love, and let me know with a thumbs up if you're with me on this, they would absolutely love to have rice for lunch in a thermos with sticky chicken sauce. Like, they just eat it as that. They wouldn't need the chicken, they wouldn't need the veggies, they would be like, okay, that's great. And for me, being like, awesome, there's a little bit more of an ease in my day. So guys, I want to really make sure that you have, you've seen my full course. It runs for 4 weeks, and we'll be doing 2 cook-alongs a week, just like this. We're going to do one on a Sunday, and we're going to do one on Tuesday, midweek, because I want you to be able to cook together with us. I'm sure you find this so motivating, being like, oh great, I've got, you know, I know what that recipe is, I've bought the bits for it, you know, I'm just going to turn up and cook it with Stace, and then it's on. It lets you to learn lots of my extra tips. That's always the wonderful feedback that I get on these live cook-alongs, is that they're like, oh, so these little nuggets, you know, talking about tweaking your flour and showing you that you can do this thing first. You don't have to run it exactly as the recipe does. Here's the reason that I put that broccoli in the rice, and chat through if you don't like capsicum, and then use carrot. You know, all of those things are so cool to learn more from. So there'll be 2 weekly cook-alongs. What there's also going to be is I am going to do, you've got the recipes written out, so we know that there is, each has a step. I've got serving suggestions, so things that you might want to add to it that I haven't included in the recipe, which is often very rare, but there might be me saying, look, you can use it as this. There's always a Stace tip, and there is plentiful of any allergy tweaks. But keeping in mind, I do eat predominantly gluten-free, so the majority of these recipes are heavy and stodgy. That's why it has flour, I tell you to use tapioca. And then it's got all that. You'll have the option for pressure cooker, low, high. And then what I've added for this round, because I have done my slow cooker course before, and last year I know it was such a hit with so many of you gals, is I've got completely new recipes, so there's no repeats. But what I am doing is I have filmed every recipe from above. So you know those ones that I kind of put on Instagram and Facebook where I'm like, do this, and here it is? I've got those. I'm voiced over them, so I say, put this in, do this, it'll look like this, and pull it out. Give me a thumbs up if you like that inclusion. I really hope that this is another awesome one, because personally for me, I was like, oh my God, if I can have a course that not just gives me the written recipe that I can download as a PDF each week and I can keep for the rest of my life, but if I can see those videos, it's stuff that I can like give to hubby and be like, hey, this is what it's meant to look like. It's that extra bit of motivation, and that's why you'll love this over just buying a cookbook. Because I get it, like you can do that, but I don't think that you will make as many recipes. You'll love being part of the Facebook group that we have there, and that is such a wonderful spot to share your wins. Because you saw me go like this, of, oh my God, it smells so good. Put a photo of that in, or just write it in the group. We're like-minded people, right? Like, we are going to give you some serious love and make you feel like a rock star and be heard that, you know, we are fellow slow cooker lovers that love this as well. It'll be a spot too that you can ask questions, that you can share like a tweak that you've made, or best of all, this is why everyone loves it, is that because so many others are posting, you feel motivated and then going, oh my God, I was scared to make the sticky chicken because my kids don't eat chicken usually, but I made it and oh my God, it is so good, and everyone gobbled it up. We've seen that here in the 3-day cook-along. There's been so many people being like, oh my God, my kids ate soup, like can't believe it. Wow, those brisket burgers are a family favourite. One that I loved seeing yesterday is a sweet mama said, her daughter is so against red meat and she ate it and was just like, this has to be something that you regularly make mama. Can I make it with you next time so I know exactly how to make it? Which is like, what a win. That's so cool, and that stuff just transfers onto other things in life. When we feel like there's ease in the kitchen and we're eating real food, it all clicks on. So guys, jump on it now. to the full course. It's just $99. I didn't want to price it too high because I want you in. I want to be able to help you. And I just want to see, how easy your winter can be if I can do the planning for you and you can start eating those real foods. That stuff is real. Like, I'm not at all worried about that there's 3 tablespoons of honey in there to serve 4 to 6 people. That stuff was real. But if I'm buying this stuff in a sauce that's pre-made from the supermarket, I guarantee you, I literally can guarantee you, there is no way that they use raw honey in it. They would have used a sugar, maybe. It was probably more of a process, something like maltodextrin or some kind of crazy sugar that is in there. And it would have been probably 10 times that amount. I don't want that for you. Let's eat this way. All right, I'm off. I'm gonna go have a run, get the kids to school, come back and do some work. So if there's any questions that you guys have got, I would love to answer. And please jump on the course. I'd love to see you in there.